back with more Angel. This is episode 8 of season 5. Excited as always to continue on, so it's going to be happening next. Love that we got a proper Wesley-centric episode last time, dealing with his dad. And yeah, cyborg / robot shenanigans, king of the robots. More Fred and Wesley angst to go alongside it. Just a really cool exploration of Wesley and his relationship with his dad and everything with that I thought was really cool. And yeah, I'm excited to see where the story's going to take us next. So let's get into the next one. Oh, hello. Yes!
Who the bloody hell's Angel?
Oh, this is where they first meet.
Look what I made.
Lately, I've been wondering what it'd be like to share the slaughter of innocence with another man.
Oh my. Odd way of flirting, but okay.
You and me, we're gonna be the best of friends.
Smash cut to...
Get the hell away from me, sir. Give me Wesley's office. I mean, since he's gone. He's not gone, he's on a leave of absence. Yeah, right. Boo-hoo.
I think he probably needs that.
You got mail.
Oh. God, what's this gonna be?
Good morning, Buffy.
Any more fireworks for me? Miserable.
Oh no.
Bugger.
Did it make him corporeal?
Hold on.
Oh shit.
Oh.
God.
Taking a long lunch bus.
Harmony. God.
Beating the groom to death with his own arm? I mean, honestly, you're a bloody killing marvel. Yeah. Have a drink.
Why you hit yourself? Why you hit yourself?
She brought me into this world where I was meant to be. It's like she's my destiny.
Not gonna believe this, Jerry. I just got thrown out of my own office. That ghost pal, Mr. Goodfang. I guess he's...
Jerry? Oh, Jerry.
Jerry?
Oh!
Replace it! The daughter! Kill them, all of them.
He's a solid citizen again.
Oh my god, why didn't you call me?
I'm sorry, we just, we've had our hands full dealing with the glitch in the office system.
If they called you, it'd be going...
Maybe when Spike's matter was reintegrated into physical form, it had some sort of ripple effect on the immediate environment. Or
Certainly having ripple effect on Harmony.
The entire universe thrown into catastrophic turmoil? Cause that's what's happening, kids.
Look who it is.
Shanshu. Maybe you've heard of it?
Oh.
Oh, God.
You're saying because Spike's back, you think he's...
I don't think anything. All I can tell you
She's just stirring the
is
pot.
is disrupting the order.
Eve. Oh. Oh, shit!
You don't want me! You want your Slayer whore! I'll kill you!
Jeez. What?
I nursed this bump with an ice pack while I barricade myself in my office, huh?
Is this so he doesn't have a big part in the episode again?
Two of you and the Wheel of Destiny starts to spin off its axis.
If something's destiny, they surely would have just decided who it was going to be.
Well,
Doesn't matter if there's two of them, as long as one of them does the thing.
I just went to the White Room to see what the big cat had to say.
And?
Uh-oh.
Cat's gone.
Uh-oh.
The White Room, too.
Oh.
They're just...
You read a translation of the prophecy. It's like comparing the King James Bible with the original Aramaic, the Hebrew.
I guess that makes sense.
Subtlety of usage. May as well have read a 12-year-old's book report on the subject.
I miss Wesley.
Okay, sir.
Until the vampire with the soul drinks from the cup of perpetual torment.
More
Sounds fun.
No, that's real.
So there's a cup.
I feel like they would have looked up the historical context and everything of this, like, years ago.
World. And the fat lady will sing no more.
Opera.
Opera.
And Collins was an opera house in Death Valley. It was buried in an earthquake in 38 mid-headlines in Los Angeles. It's only a few hours away. I can get there.
He's an opera fan, isn't he? He's already off and away, isn't he, Spike? I want to be it. I want to be it. Pick me, teacher. Pick me. Oh my god. It's like the end of Lover's Walk. Oh, we saw Spike was like talking like, oh, Drusilla's my destiny and everything. He's really going to believe in this kind of thing, isn't he?
All right, breaking up. You're breaking up. Spike.
natural siblings.
It's a wonder with all the hijinks you people ever get any work done.
Funny. You always seem to be around for the...
I was gonna say,
hijinks.
don't see you doing any bloody work.
Yes.
Don't be fingering the robots.
Excuse me?
Saved the world, didn't they?
Once. Talk to me after you a couple more times.
Done talking, mate. Looks like you haven't had your fill of her after.
The little children didn't come out to play.
Well...
What do we do now?
Drink it at the same time. Oh, you can do that.
What do you think?
I think he does want to prove himself, doesn't he, a bit?
Come on!
If he can go and find Buffy and say, look, I'm a hero again.
Got it there.
You had a soul forced on you. As a curse. Make you suffer for all the horrible things.
He chose it.
Me? I fought for my soul.
Any idea what the specific trigger is? None. There's no common thread. Gender, age, position, psych profile.
No common
type,
thread.
history.
Ha.
Is there anything we
Why
can...
are you answering her questions, Fred?
Oh.
Trust this bitch. She'll kill us all.
Gun.
I mean, I kind of agree, but I don't want to jump to conclusions.
You want to show me? What are you, a monster? Show me!
Oh! Cool. Felt that. There could be plenty of vampires that fit the bill, we just haven't met them.
Do we?
Yours were a bit simple. Willie.
Uh-oh.
Don't touch her! A little late for that, Willie. You knew she was mine.
Did I?
You knew bloody well!
Yeah, but he's an arsehole, Spike.
We're forever, Drusilla and me.
Are we?
Ah, still the poet now, aren't we, Willie?
Well. Parallels. Except now they're fighting over a cup.
See all the dirty little things I've done. All the lives I've taken. Because of you. Drusilla sighed me. But you made me a monster.
Oh, damn.
I just opened up the door and let the real you out.
He sounded a bit Irish then, which I thought was quite cool.
You're less. That's why Buffy never really loved you. Because you weren't me.
He went there.
She was thinking about you. All those times I was putting it to her.
Oh boy, here we go. Maybe they need this to work through, you know? Maybe it's just time.
You're gonna be okay. Just... You don't have to pretend to care. What?
She's just a nice person.
I'm not the bad guy.
I'm sorry, but I just find that hard to believe right now. Yeah, when it comes down to it, could you really? God, I guess you could. Although I don't think he's dead.
It's not a trophy. That's a burden.
Yeah, Angel's the king of burdens.
One you're gonna have to bear till it burns you to ashes. Believe me. I know.
He's also been burnt to ashes though, Angel, so there's that.
You even really want it? Or is it that you just want to take something away from me?
'Cause Angel's burdens is why he can never really be with Buffy.
Bit of both. Spike!
It's water.
Mountain Dew.
Oh. Well. But you've aired all your dirty laundry. So, progress? Okay.
Hey. What the hell happened?
Senior partners stepped in. Apparently, they were working on the problem since it started. They managed to temporarily stabilize the universally polluted.
Oh, did they? That's very handy of them.
The whole Shanshu thing's still unresolved. Still two vampires
Yeah, you
with souls.
keep mentioning that. Funny that.
Guess that's a question for another day.
What if it means I'm not the one?
We don't even know if it's real, do we, really? Here we go. Shenanigans. This is your evil Leo, isn't it?
They totally fell for the cup of torment thing. Just like you thought they would. kill Angel, but they did beat each other to bloody pulps.
Well, it's a start.
What the fuck? Okay, I really, really enjoyed this episode. Definitely one of my favourites of the season so far, I would say. And it was cool to get some flashbacks to see the first meeting of, well, I should probably say Angelus and William, really, shouldn't I? But Angel and Spike, seeing the first encounter between them, how they were kind of getting on in their own twisted way, and then it's just interesting to see how it is in present day, and the fact that they end up arguing the flashbacks, and they end up, arguing and fighting. And the present day stuff as well, we kind of knew they ended up not really getting along, but it was cool to see that first meeting and to see Angelus plant the idea in William's head, like, oh, you need to come up with a new name, because that would stop him, having the mick taken out of him for being called William. So I just found that really interesting, and a bit rich coming from Angelus when his name used to be Liam. That's basically William. Like, calm down. Why did I just shame him for having his name be Liam? That's my name. I'm an idiot. Anyway, let's move on from that silly moment. I might cut that out. I'll forget. But yeah, I really enjoyed seeing those flashbacks and to see Drusilla again in flashback form as well. I will say I wish we'd gotten more Drusilla the character in those flashbacks instead of Drusilla the prize for Angel and Spike to compete over. And I felt like we didn't really get anything substantial with her. I get it's more so, the Angelus, William / Angel and Spike story. But I feel like there could have been some fun with Drusilla to be had there as well. It didn't really feel like we got her back in a way, but maybe that's the point, I'm not sure, because, in contrast, she's the cup that they're fighting over in present times in a way, and they're fighting for their own destiny, because Spike saw Drusilla as his destiny, and then potentially drinking from that cup was also his destiny, so they were fighting over the same thing, thematically, symbolically, whatever word, in both timelines, which I thought was really cool and very interesting. I like how they properly delved into the rivalry between the two of those, because I think it probably would get to a point if they just kept being like, well, Spike's the annoying ghost. It probably would have... There's only so much they could do with it, I imagine. So the fact that we didn't pull any punches, we had a flashback with Drusilla, and then Spike became corporeal again before the credits even rolled, which was nuts. So I'm assuming Mr. Lindsey McDonald was the one who sent the package in for Spike and maybe sent the amulet. Was that all part of his long plan? And I knew Eve was dodgy. I can't really applaud myself for it because they made it very, very obvious that she was shady. But man, they just really wanted to make her happen. Now we know why. They still surprise me with who she's working with /for /on. So, still props for that, because I did not see that ending coming with Mr. Lindsey coming back. I feel like, in a way, though, I'm like, oh, but I feel like he had a nice arc in the first couple of seasons, and I feel like he left, he kind of had some nice moments, he kind of saw the wrong that was being done, and he was like, you know what, I'm out. And he did kind of have a good heart when he needed to. I feel like since he's messing with Angel and stuff now, I'm intrigued to find out why and what his motivations are for coming back. But I'm also kind of like, I feel like he's just going to be the villain now, and that might slightly undo his season 2 kind of arc and his exit there. But he's never been a particularly kind and nice person all the time, granted, but I'm intrigued to see where that goes, and it is very exciting to bring him back into it, because I never in a million years thought we were going to see Lindsey again, because that literally 3 seasons ago, that's nuts. I was trying to refrain from talking about the ending until a bit later on, but my god, that's exciting. I love the actor anyway. I love him in Leverage. That's the first thing I saw him in. And it is cool, because, Lindsey was around at the start of the show, so the fact that he's also showing up in the final season is quite nice and cyclical. yeah, I'm excited for us finding out what's going on with him and what his deal is, how him and Eve are properly connected. I mean, we can take a wild guess. But, you know, the history between those two, how did that all start? Exactly what is going on? What is he, you know, why is he messing with Angel and Spike, trying to get them to kill each other seemingly? What, you know, is he the one who actually did bring Spike back? And what is Eve's link, actually? What is her deal? How did she get into the Wolf and Heart stuff and close to the powers? And, like, how much was she just bullshitting? How much was all, like, staged and organised by Lindsey and her? I'm imagining most of it. I feel like they were just pretending that the apocalypse thing was happening. They tried to make it seem like that was the case to try and just pit Spike and Angel against each other, which I think is a really neat idea and a cool plan. But we'll see how that all entails. And through that, it did allow Spike and Angel to air all their dirty laundry about each other, really. I found that particularly very fascinating. I mean, that was always a thing we've talked about before, where I thought, you know, bringing Spike into Angel does bring us very interesting commentaries about the relationship. And that came up again, the fact that Angel had a soul forced upon him, Spike actually sought his out. That's like, for Spike, that's like the key difference between them, and the fact that he was only the monster that needed to like get his soul back to kind of get some sort of redemption, because Angela sent him down that path into becoming Spike anyway, which I think is really interesting, and I hope we get a bit more of that explored. And maybe, I feel like now they've just, you know, they had this huge fight and they've said all these things about each other, and Angel, I was wondering who was going to play the Buffy card first, and it was Angel. You know, really getting into, well, Buffy would never love you, blah, 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 which I guess is up for debate whether you agree or disagree with that. Personally, I feel like part of Buffy did love Spike, but she also loved Angel, and we can't deny that too. So I think now maybe all that's out there, and I think the root of the problem in why those two aren't getting along and never have for quite some time kind of started really with, you know, Angelus and Drusilla still having a bit of fun, which I feel like we knew did kind of happen in like in season 2 and stuff. Angelus came back, you know, there was a bit of a love triangle-y thing sort of going on again, so it's not surprising that's just always been the case. And I think Angelus just enjoyed showing William the way of the vampire world, and it's just like, you know, you don't own anything, but you can still take anything, which is an interesting kind of concept as well. Just teaching that lesson, and you can just see where the hatred that's been brewing between them for, you know, hundreds and hundreds of years, I think, you can see where that all came from and started. So that was really cool to get those flashbacks. And I think it was just enough flashbacks as well. It didn't like dominate everything else that was going on, because there was still a big deal with the present day stuff. But maybe now that all that's out there, we could see like a big positive step forward for Angel and Spike's relationship. I think that could be quite interesting. Maybe they could find some sort of peace with each other, not just like, well, I guess you're just going to be here annoying me now, nothing I can do about it. Maybe they will actively start liking each other. Not, I mean, depending on, you know, I'm sure there's some fanfic out there of them liking each other. And I think there's fuel to the fire in this episode, and Angelus seemed to be a bit keen. I don't know if they could actually just end up getting on, which I think would be a really cool arc for them, especially because this is like the last time we're going to see these characters in live action this season. That could be a nice endpoint to build towards. Obviously, that may not happen. I'd still be alright if it doesn't, because I think them bickering can still be quite funny. But it was a really great examination of just the problem that those two have with each other right now and where they're at. All coming from the Shanshu thing, which again, revisiting, but I think that was just maybe even Lindsey just making that up, the force in the hand. I think it makes sense because, you know, Lindsey was around in the times when the Shanshu prophecy was a big deal for Angel, because we'd seen already that Angel kind of lost faith and belief in that even being a thing, really. But then, when he's presented with a chance of it, he's still willing to kind of fight for it, so deep down we know he does want that. And Spike maybe wanted it more. I did quite like that Angel felt a bit put out, that Spike was seemingly the one who wanted it more when it came down to it. He was the one who got there first and drank it. So I don't know if that's just going to be another reason for maybe Angel to hold something against Spike or what, but really fascinating relationship between the two of them, and I'm excited to see where this confrontation will ultimately get them. So that was all very well and good, and I'm sure we're going to learn more about what on earth Eve is really doing and how she came to be where she is and stuff like that. there's a lot about her we don't know. Her being like, oh, I'm not trying to hurt anyone. Shut up, Eve. We've been new. And I like how Spike called her out in the last episode. In this episode, it was Gunn being like, I don't buy it. Because those like little spurts of whatever happened, like Harmony and Gunn stuff, I think it really was their subconsciouses and their, you know, their inner thoughts actually coming out. Because Gunn didn't trust Eve, and I think, you know, it was just what he was feeling about her times 1,000, so it went quite violent and stuff like that. And she didn't seem necessarily shaken up by it at the end of the episode, so I feel like she's really putting on a performance. I feel like we've never met the real Eve until that final scene. So I'm excited to get to know that side of her potentially and actually see who she really is. I think calling her Eve of Adam and Eve fame probably isn't necessarily, you know, a coincidence. So we'll see what happens with all of that. And then with Harmony as well, when her and Spike were like, I mean, I wasn't a big fan of Spike just grabbing her being like, yep, I know what I want now. Now I'm corporeal, I can have sex again. But I guess that's the violence sex thing with vampires, isn't it? Although he does have a soul now, so I guess that's just maybe a Spike thing, which I'm not a big fan of. But while Harmony was like a bit wooed by him and just caught up in that cycle all over again, as she has been a couple of times, when she was then affected by whatever was going on, she called Spike out, you know, oh, you just want me to be Buffy or whatever because she's not here, you're just kind of using me for fun or whatever. Which we have seen because he kind of got her to dress up as Buffy before, didn't he, in Buffy, the show. So I like the innermost thoughts coming out, and it just gave a bit of credence to Harmony, I feel like, because deep down she does know what Spike's up to. She knows what he's about. She's got a read on him at this point. But from the surface level, when she doesn't really have the insight of whatever that thing did, the box and the flashbang and whatever, she just goes along with it. Bless her. I say bless her. She's not particularly nice, but, you know. So, yeah, I liked seeing glimpses of that as well. And Gunn getting quite involved in the action in this episode as well. Obviously, Wesley wasn't around, and I guess that makes sense because things were quite heavy from the last episode, and it probably would have just been a bit easy in this episode with the whole prophecy Shanshu reading thing. Nice chance to maybe bring up, you know, Wesley and his past with prophecies that he doesn't remember again, kind of feeding into that. But obviously Wesley wasn't in this one, and maybe Alexis was on holiday or something. Or was he getting married? Yeah, that was was that during last season they got married? I can't remember. Doesn't matter. But yeah, it was just, you know, he could have been quite useful in the situation, so it's quite neat that he had quite the traumatic experience in the last episode, and now he's off and away for a bit. But I also do feel like with the whole, like, oh, you don't have the context of the prophecy, I feel like that is something that they would have researched. You know, obviously they didn't have the access to the Wolfman Heart thing until this season, but even in like the early days when Angel was like all about that, I feel like they would have done more research into it. Surely Wesley would have done, but maybe they just didn't have the resources until Wolfman Heart's kind of catalogue came along. Maybe that's just it. But even so, maybe they would have done that before this point. But that's a tiny little thing, it doesn't matter. But yeah, just expanding on the whole Shanshu thing, being at the last season, I feel like the cogs are turning. Is that going to be addressed? Is that just going to be a red herring? Maybe it's a trap within the trap, just because the whole thing with the cup was completely fake. You know, it doesn't mean necessarily that there is like a real Shanshu still. It could just be like a double bluff, or whoever, you know, I'm assuming Lindsey and co, made this whole Mountain Dew cup thing up. Surely they would have just put something else in it so it's not so obviously fake, you know, but they also then, I guess they couldn't have predicted when someone was going to drink it, so they couldn't just stop it at the exact right second, could they? So they just had to keep things going if they were properly in control of the shenanigans going on Wolfman Heart. But yeah, it's all a mess, and I still don't know what to believe in regards to the prophecy, but I think that's kind of the point. Because at the end of the day, I think the Shanshu thing did get quite lost in like the middle seasons of the show anyway. Because at the end of the day, I think it's more so about Angel's fight for the Shanshu prophecy rather than the prophecy itself. I feel like it's never really been the point of things. But what do I know? I could be talking out my arse. But yeah, it's an interesting concept, especially to throw into the final season of the show. Obviously it has comic continuations, but I don't know what happens in those yet, so we'll have to wait and see. But I really enjoyed the episode just focusing on the Angel and Spike dynamic, airing out all that dirty laundry that could lean itself towards some positive development for those two going forward, and like some kind of mutual understanding. It would be a great time to bring Buffy into it, wouldn't it? But I don't think we're going to see any Buffy characters. Certainly not Buffy herself. I don't think that would be quite the surprise. I feel like her last appearance in the Buffyverse not being in her own show probably would be a bit weird. So I think that's just done. Willow can turn up though. I'll be alright with that, please. I miss Willow. But it's okay. We still have Fred in this show, and she had a few bits to do again, but I feel like we need a big Fred episode as well. Just like with Lorne. Poor Lorne. Like, if it's not an episode about Lorne, he will just have like, a comic-y, goofy phone scene walking past the corridor and that's it. Or he gets injured and is like, I'm going to stay in my office for the whole episode, so you won't be seeing me. I feel like maybe just the makeup is just too much hassle, so he can't be on set loads of days, I'm guessing. But it's still a shame, because they just make it all the more obvious that Lorne's not around a lot. But, you know, he did get a centric episode a few episodes back, but still, we had some nice stuff from everyone. I did like that Gunn tried to clear the air with Eve at the end, because he still kind of felt the weight of what he'd done, even if it wasn't really under his control per se. I think the motivations were, but not the actual action itself. So I like that side as well. And I also found it very wholesome when Gunn was like, oh, I miss Wesley. Because I really enjoyed their little bond that they had prior to season 3 ruining it all, and they've been building it up again a bit since. So I thought that was quite wholesome as well. But my camera was yelling at me saying, please stop talking, I'm about to run out of battery, so I'm going to leave it there. But fantastic episode, really loved it. Enjoyed the parallels between the fight for destiny between Angelus and William and Spike and Angel in the different timelines. The ending, nuts, no idea where that's going. But I'm excited that Lindsey's back into the fold and exactly what that whole deal is with him and Eve and like everything. That should be cool to get more answers with that. I feel like that's going to be maybe the big thing for this season, the big mystery maybe, which is all very well and good. So yeah, really enjoyed that. Wish we'd got a bit more of juice to the character instead of just her being the prize, but it does lead into what the story was going for this time, so it is what it is. Maybe we'll see her again in another flashback or present day, and it'll be alright. If that's the last time we ever see her, I'll be like, oh. But who knows? They didn't know they were going to get cancelled, so maybe it is, and that's going to be a shame. But I can't predict it yet, so no point commenting on it until all is said and done. But yeah, fantastic episode. Loved it so much. Looking forward to seeing where things are going to go, particularly with Lindsey in the fray. And yeah, we'll see what happens next. But that's going to be everything for now and for this cycle. So obviously the next one will be episodes 9 and 10. But yeah, that's everything. And until my next reaction, thanks for watching.